Christopher Morel trying to lock down the hot corner, but his play has been inconsistent. We're going to talk about that. Ian Happ starting to force himself back towards the starting lineup with a lot of hard work on the backfields. Jameson Taillon not going to be ready for the season. So what does the rotation look like without him? How do the Cubs make it? And Ryan Sandberg going through chemo, thoughts and prayers with him. And as he goes through it, he's given us updates, including his fourth chemo treatment. We're going to talk about Rhino as well. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That's a great way of saying go Cubs. Hit the bell so you know when we've got shows. Let's get this thing started. Go Cubs. What do you say, everybody? It's Mick Gillespie at Broadcaster Mick on the socials, and it is great to talk to you because since I got back from Arizona, I've been dealing with, I think, the flu. I don't know, but couldn't get out of bed. I did want to do a show with you guys, so this has been the best part of the entire day, dealing with this stuff. So anyway, thanks for being here and hanging out, and I apologize for the raspy voice. All right, let's talk about this spring training. And one of the things that we've been covering the whole time is Christopher Morel at third base, and got an opportunity to watch him in person, talk to people about him, including Ron Coomer. And still the jury's out on Morel. Is he going to be able to do it defensively at third base? And you watch him, and he's made a lot of these great, ESPN Sports Center top 10 type plays. And then he commits, errors on routine plays. The throws to me have been what I've worried about the most. And I know I've talked to you guys about it. It's like he's going to have to me, come over top a little bit more because he goes to the side and it's just he skips the ball past the first baseman. And I saw him do that a couple of nights ago against Milwaukee again. And, it's a good time to have this happen. And we'll see if they, if that's something that they end up doing is trying to change his delivery a little bit. But maybe part of it is just getting used to making that throw constantly. Although I will say I'm still pretty concerned about him defensively. Love the bat. We've seen it again this spring. He makes hard contact, runs the bases with, with fire. Love that about him. And there is no third baseman. I mean, it's either him or no one right now. So I don't even know that there's really a competition because I don't know who would be in the competition. Patrick Wisdom's hit some home runs, but defensively, he's worse than what we're seeing with Morel. So, is that an option? And then Nick Madrigal is injured. Miles Mastrobuoni. I mean, you start talking about it. It's not going to be Matt Shaw. He's probably going to start in Double-A. So if the Cubs are going to, go into the regular season and find some momentum, they're going to have Morel play more solid third base. And I see him make the great plays, but I still hold my breath on certain throws. And, I think that's kind of where this is right now. He's just going to have to keep going out there until he figures out how to adjust, if it's possible, to get that range. But he's got the arm strong enough. And I know some of you guys worry, seen it in the comment section, that maybe it has something to do with his hand from the injury he had when he was in the Dominican, where his hand went through a window. I don't know that that's it. I just think that, to me, it's all about just the feel that you have range wise, and when you play third base, you just get used to it. So that's all he's doing right now is playing third base, and we'll see if it comes up. But right now, it still is a bit concerning. Ian Happ, I watched him on the backfields last week, and he was hitting the ball right-handed. I didn't see him bat left-handed, but the swing was there. And all reports that we're getting is to expect the Gold Glover to be ready to go opening day. Now, does ready to go mean play the outfield, or does it mean DH, or does it mean pinch hit? That's also to be determined, right? But the good news is he's playing games every day. You're just not seeing him. And what's really beneficial to him, if you've ever seen these games before, is that he'll bat, and then another guy will bat, and then another guy will bat, and then he'll bat again. So he's getting a ton of at bats. It's not like he's got to wait through the lineup. in these sim games. So you face live pitching. Um, sometimes they even have fielders and everything. And, but he doesn't run the bases. I'm sure he'll eventually start doing that. You start to get that, just you're staying active as you're letting your body heal, whether it's a hamstring or a leg or whatever. But good news there, knowing that they feel good about Happ. Now, someone that they don't feel good about is Jameson Taillon, who had the lower back issue before he made his last start, or was supposed to make his last start. Now, he's a guy who has dealt with injuries his entire career. He's missed a lot of games. Last year, he was pretty healthy. He was inconsistent when it comes to the results, but towards the end of the season, he was pitching the best that we seen him pitch as a Cub. Had some really good games mixed in there. And for this rotation to do its best, it's going to need Jameson Taillon pitching like he did at the end of the year. But for all intents and purposes, it does not look like he's going to be ready when the season starts. So it's March 13th now. And basically, Craig Counsell has said, he's got to throw 4 innings, and then you kind of start to get figured out when he's going to return and everything, basically as a starter, right? So who knows when that's going to happen? But what are the Cubs going to do without him? What are the options without him? And that's something that we've talked a lot about. It doesn't look like the Cubs are going to sign Jordan Montgomery. It just doesn't. I think that the Yankees are going to end up signing him because with Garrett Cole out for an extended period of time, if they don't get a starting pitcher, which is going to be tough for them with the salary cap and everything, but if they don't add a starting pitcher to that rotation and they have another year that was like the season that they had last year, the whole front office might get fired. So they got to feel like there's some pressure there to win, right? But it's just some bad luck kind of jumping out of the chute there and not having one of your best options. And if it's not him, if it's not them, maybe it's the Red Sox, but not hearing the Cubs. And I kind of felt like maybe the Cubs were a sleeper in this, but I don't think so. I think that they're going to take advantage of the depth that they feel like they have. So before we talk about that, let me just kind of go over the starting rotation and what I've seen so far. First off, Justin Steele's been awesome. I mean, just awesome. Like what a fantastic job watching him pitch that last start against Milwaukee. Changing speeds, the breaking ball is just so nasty. People don't pick him up. It's like he's kind of found this John Lester thing where you're just like, how are they not hitting it? But it's so deceptive, and he's able to keep the ball like eye level. Guys swing under it. He's competitive. And he is truly becoming an ace in Major League Baseball. Jordan Wicks, he's been really solid in his starts too. Maybe some of us felt like there was going to be a 5th starter battle. I felt like it was going to be him from the start. As long as he came in and kind of picked up where he left off last year, the Cubs have to put him in the rotation, even as left-handed heavy as they are. And he's done that. Kyle Hendricks is Kyle Hendricks. It's like, you watch it and you're like, okay, you just keep waiting for him to get ripped up, and he just doesn't. Like it's like he just knows how to get outs. And so I'm pretty happy about what I've seen with him. And Shota Imanaga, the first start was the first start. Some of you guys were concerned, and then he comes out the next time and he's striking guys out and making adjustments, and he's going to keep making adjustments. And there's going to be some bad outings for all these guys, but probably Imanaga early, just getting used to Major League Baseball, figuring out the ball, which is a different size than they use in Japan, different weight than they use in Japan, figuring out the umpires, which, call strikes, I'm sure different than they do in Japan. And kind of getting used to the way that players play the game here compared to where he came from. But I feel very comfortable with these 4 guys right now in this rotation. Now, once you kind of, going back to the options without Taillon, if you want someone who has the experience, we saw him with the experience last year and was very consistent, then it's Javier Assad. To me, it's Javier Assad. I mean, is it overpowering? No. I mean, do your analytics tell you that they should be hitting the ball? Maybe, but they don't. So what's it matter, right? Feel really good about Javier Assad, what he does when you put him in the rotation, his ability to throw strikes, get outs. He's a competitor. He's tough. and he's going to be a little bit better than he was last year. I mean, think about it. It's not a full big league season under his belt. Then you got Drew Smiley. I know I called him Justin. That's a football guy, Justin Smiley. I don't know why I did that. I apologize, but not even spelled the same, I don't think. But Drew, he pitched well last year at the beginning of the season. I mean, really well, like all-star stuff for a month and change. And then all of a sudden, he just couldn't do it at all, and they had to basically throw him in the bullpen. But they were paying him to be a starter. And in some places, that weighs more than what you do on the field. They feel like, hey, if you're paid to be a starter, we need to make sure that we get that starter out of you. So if it came down to Smiley and Assad and they were neck and neck, it wouldn't surprise me if it was Smiley. But then that throws, what another left-hander in there, right? So you got him, and then you don't have a lefty in the bullpen. So maybe it's Assad. I've heard people say Hayden Wesneski. I just don't think that's going to happen. I know people have kind of wished him to be in there, but I mean, he just hasn't had enough success to be ahead of the other guys. And I think that he'll eventually get some starts, and he's got to take advantage of those. But nothing about him makes me confident that you're going to put him in the rotation and he's going to have success. Now, I like the way his ball moves, and I think that he's got good stuff. But having success, in Chicago is something that we haven't seen yet. But he's in this mix too. And then, we've talked about Ben Brown. It's not going to be Ben Brown, not yet. He'll probably start in the minor leagues. And I mean, unless something major happens, but he's a guy knocking on the door, right? And then Cade Horton, that's where I want to finish the show. Cade Horton, the Cubs have, and they should do this. I'm just going to say this: they should. And I'm not a proponent of a lot of these pitch counts. I hate them. I'm more of you got to let the guy go through the lineup 3 times, especially in the minor leagues, just so you get the experience of doing that, where guys have a better idea of what you're throwing. And you could, because you don't want to make that first time that you're doing it in the big leagues, like Jordan Wicks. I mean, I think that to educate them, do it in the minors, but he's coming off of an injury. He's the best pitching prospect you've had in probably 20 some years. You just don't want to get him hurt. And I would keep him in bubble wrap. He'll probably start the year in extended spring. They'll figure out if he's going to double or triple A, and then take it easy with him. You just don't want to get him hurt. And I'm like, well, I know, like, you got this big ticket item. I mean, if you're not using it, then what good is it to have it, right? You're right. That's true. But if he's not going to be in the rotation now, then what's the rush? And there's, I'd say, 4 guys ahead of him. So you might as well just ease him into it. He's still working, to me, on 2 of his secondary pitches, his curveball and his changeup. His slider's amazing. His fastball's great. Throwing more first pitch strikes, to me, would make him even better. Something that we see Justin Steele do a lot, just because his stuff's so good. When that guy's ahead of you, I mean, you're in big trouble. So we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't look for Cade Horton maybe this entire year. Although you're trying to win and the guy comes out and does what he did last year, maybe you say, hey, by June or something, we need him, and we'll see what happens. Now, the final thing I wanted to talk about was our friend Ryan Sandberg. Rhino has been posting on his Instagram updates from his chemo. He's got prostate cancer. Apparently it's stage 4, and it has spread. We don't know how it's spread or not, but Rhino has lost his hair. He's in great spirits. He's halfway through the chemo. And just as a person who worked with him and loves him, and you guys love him too, keep the prayers going his way. And, we're thinking about Rhino a lot, and just hoping that, that he's one of a miracle in this thing. So thanks, guys. Hey, appreciate you being here on the Cubs baseball channel. Sorry, under the weather, but I wanted to get on here with you guys today and talk a little ball. Make sure that you like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Thanks for being here, and go Cubs.